Nets fans, I'm gonna give you like a solid 5 seconds to go into the comment section down below and give me a legitimate reason why you guys lost by 25 points on national television to the Los Angeles Lakers, because maybe there's something that I'm not seeing that you guys are seeing. And please, none of those excuses cannot include Kyrie Irving getting ejected when Dennis Schroeder got ejected. As a matter of fact, go ahead, take the entire intro to go ahead and come up with an excuse. Guys, I'm gonna probably get a ton of dislikes on this video, so if you want to get my back on this, leave a like on the video. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? A couple of days ago, I made a video on the Brooklyn Nets, and this was a fairly unbiased video. I said that the only kryptonite that the Brooklyn Nets had in their juggernaut of a squad is the fact that their big three might not have a lot of familiarity with one another by the time they all need to get together to get the chemistry to make a deep playoff run. But at the same time, I said the one thing that the Brooklyn Nets have on their side is the fact that they have a really tough schedule from this point up until the end of the season. As a matter of fact, they have the 23rd easiest schedule from this point for the rest of the season. So if at any point James Harden does come back and Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are all healthy, that should give them enough time to try to get their chemistry together. But at the same time, I mentioned that each and every big three that has ever won an NBA championship has at least played 52% of their games or more. In the San Antonio Spurs case, you could see in front of your screen that they played at least 66% of their games together with Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and Tony Parker. This isn't even including Kawhi during their latter years. The Boston Celtics big three played 79% of their games together in their lone season winning a championship. The Miami Heat big three played at least 67% of their games together in their second season when they won an NBA championship. Before we get to the Golden State Warriors dynasty, where they were able to win their final championship together after playing only 52% of their games together. And of course, LeBron James's magical run to winning the 2016 NBA Finals. Kyrie Irving, LeBron, and Kevin Love played 55% of their games together, which means only 2 times has a NBA team been able to win a NBA Finals when their big three played less than 52% of their games together. So if James Harden was to return at this point, and at the time we made the previous video, we assumed that if James Harden returned for their next game versus the Lakers, the Nets would have been only able to play 45% of their games together. Now, statistics could be redundant, and statistics are proven wrong all the time, but there were significantly more holes to the Brooklyn Nets during this game that, look, man, if you're a Nets fan, I'm not trying to bag on you, but just at least be open-minded that these are issues that your team can have, just like every single team can have issues on their way to trying to win an NBA championship. Let's start with the fact that I already know many of you guys probably took to the comment section to mention that Kyrie Irving got ejected during a very silly scuffle with Dennis Schroeder. And if you watch the scuffle go down, Dennis Schroeder was literally living in Kyrie Irving's head rent-free. And I don't know what Dennis Schroeder said to Kyrie Irving to piss him off so much, but as I was watching this, I really felt like Kyrie Irving was the only one deserving of being ejected, and Dennis Schroeder really didn't do anything hostile whatsoever. But for the ref's sake, and in a situation where you had to make a split-second decision, I can understand why he threw both of them out. Now, you might be wondering why this is a big deal. Well, Kyrie Irving's maturity gets called into question a lot. And I stated in the very beginning that if there's one thing that could potentially cost the Brooklyn Nets games, it's Kyrie Irving's lack of maturity. Dude, with all due respect, you're one of the most talented players in the NBA. By far, probably one of the most gifted ball handlers I have ever seen. Yet, people can easily rattle him so quickly and take him out of games to the point where he's losing to teams that he should not be losing to. And I don't care what you say, man, because Kyrie Irving literally cost the Brooklyn Nets this game by not being in the game, even though they had Kevin Durant and LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin to still fall back on. You just can't allow a player, a role player for crying out loud, like Dennis Schroeder, to get into your head and take you out of the game. This game was supposed to be a gimme. This is a game where the Brooklyn Nets went up against the Los Angeles Lakers, and bear in mind that the Lakers had LeBron James out due to a right ankle sprain. Anthony Davis was out due to a right calf strain. Jared Dudley, which, okay, he wouldn't really get much minutes anyways, but we're just going to add him to the equation just to make the sound a little bit better. Marc Gasol, Kyle Kuzma, and Wesley Matthews were all out tonight, which means the Los Angeles Lakers' best player tonight on the court was Andre Drummond. As a matter of fact, out of every single player in the Lakers' entire team, the only one to have ever made an All-Star game was Andre Drummond. Then you flip to the other side of the coin, and you look at the Brooklyn Nets' entire team, and I already saw an excuse that the Brooklyn Nets didn't have James Harden. So 1 out of 5 Brooklyn Nets that were at least 2 years removed from being an all-star were not able to play tonight. But Blake Griffin was healthy, Kevin Durant was healthy, LaMarcus Aldridge was healthy, and Kyrie Irving was also healthy, although he did get ejected after a tussle with Dennis Schroeder. And this is yet another excuse that the Brooklyn Nets fans like to come out and say that this is the reason why the Nets lost, because they didn't have James Harden, which, okay, one member of your super team is gone. And then on top of that, yeah, we lost Kyrie Irving. The Lakers also lost Dennis Schroeder. There's only one excuse that I suppose that I can accept for the Brooklyn Nets not performing well tonight, and it's the fact that the Lakers had a very linear game plan going into this game. And if you were watching the highlights, you'd see something that was fairly repetitive. And that's the fact that they consistently threw the ball into Andre Drummond and allowed him to completely bully LaMarcus Aldridge. And this is probably one of the biggest holes to the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of people claim that they can't play defense, and I disagree with that notion completely. I think Kevin Durant is a remarkable defender. I think DeAndre Jordan, if he was available, he probably would have been able to slow down Andre Drummond a little bit. But what do you think is going to happen in a playoff series when these weaknesses become more apparent, when your big three hasn't played as many games together? What do you think is going to happen in the NBA Finals, which I think the Brooklyn Nets could totally make? Again, not bagging the Brooklyn Nets, just trying to give you guys a couple of footnotes that I saw as I was watching this game. I don't think any of these issues make them completely unable to win an NBA championship, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Brooklyn Nets are automatically favored to win the NBA Finals this year. And I don't think that's that wild of a statement. This team has plenty of holes and plenty of problems, from their potential team chemistry issues down the line to the fact that there's a lack of familiarity between the star players when they're all on the court at the same time, to the fact that they have several defensive deficiencies and multiple head coaches that are notorious for not ever teaching defense whatsoever. I'm looking at you, Mike D'Antoni. All the way down to the fact that some of their players can cost them games as a result of a lack of maturity. And I think all these issues can be fixed right on time to make a deep run to the playoffs and potentially win an NBA championship. But that doesn't mean that these problems do not exist. But hey, if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, by this point you probably clicked off the video, and I don't really blame you. It's really hard to be honest with yourself, but if you made it to the end of the video, first of all, give me a hashtag Mike Mafia so I know you made it to the end of the video, and secondly, give me your take, because I'm sure there are some holes in my take because I made this literally an hour after the game. And I look forward to getting into the comment section down below to debate this with you guys, and I look forward to also getting into some heated Twitter arguments with you guys on Twitter. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.